we're gonna need names. I would like my name to be Lila.
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 That's a pretty name, Lila.
Thank you.
I think my name shall be Teefs. Because although we all do have them, mine are definitely the most prominent.
Teeps.
Teefs.
Lila.
Teeps.
Me be called Floor because me is lying on floor.
You're lying on a floor, so your name is Floor?
Yes.
Floor.
What about you, friend?
Someday, I'm gonna make great machines that fly. And me and my friends are gonna go flying together into the forever and beautiful sky. Lila, and Teefs, and Floor, and me. Rocket.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is my review of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Now, the film is an art of storytelling and self-emotion as baby Rocket Raccoon is experimented on as a test subject by the High Evolutionary, a scientist who sought to enhance all animal life forms into a new species to create something called Counter-Earth. Now, Rocket becomes friends with the High Evolutionary's other test subjects, an otter named Laya, a walrus named Teefs, a rabbit named Floor, and he soon displays intelligence beyond anything ever seen before. Now, this angered the High Evolutionary as to why Rocket's brain was so advanced. After seeing his friends killed, Rocket escapes, and we pick up the film after Adam Warlock continues to hunt them down, which is the end of the last film. We also learn that the Sovereign was created by Aisha and the High Evolutionary, so Adam Warlock was tasked with capturing Rocket Raccoon and delivering him to the High Evolutionary. And in that fight, at the beginning of the film, Rocket gets tackled by Adam Warlock, which mortally wounds him. So the film is really about trying to save Rocket's life, and by that, it brings a whole load of emotional beats, which is kind of rare in Marvel films these days. I can't remember ever feeling this elated and fun and tearful in a comic book movie for a long time. And we have James Gunn to thank for that. DC should be very lucky to have him. And the story has been 10 years in the making, and it's a swan song to the whole galactic cosmic universe that he constructed and created in 2013. James Gunn does a great job with the script, guys. Everyone feels like they've played a part in this film. There's enough time for everybody, and screen time and dialogue. I think that's plenty much shared around the whole cast. His cinematography is lush as always. The way James Gunn uses colours, backgrounds, absolutely fantastic. Films never looked bad. None of his films have ever looked bad. And we've seen Baby Groot. You know, we've all fallen in love with him over the set of the films. But James Gunn shows us so many levels to Groot in this film that you'll never kind of believe he has so much range. In many ways, Groot and Nebula are indestructible. In this film, you'll see them both getting ripped apart, twisted, beaten down, but yet both have the ability to restore themselves with ease. And there's plenty of wowing moments and personal moments as well that many comic book films never really take the time to unfold. I've seen some people say that this movie isn't as good as the first film, but I disagree. I think it's just as good as the first film. The visuals, the sentimental notes, relationships, the storytelling, it's hard to beat. If you put this against any other film, it'll either equal it or come out on top. This film has a whole lot of fun to deliver. You'll laugh, you'll cry. There's a surreal and beautiful perspective throughout as far as the storytelling goes. At first, I was worried about the whole Gamora subplot. I didn't really want it to suck the whole life out of the film like it did in Volume 2. And fair play to James Gunn, it didn't. The whole celebrating life together with a core family group even made this hardened Gamora smile. And I said smile because she's still the same old cutthroat killer that Thanos raised. But in her eyes, at the end of this film, They have been opened, and this will forever change her in the future of the MCU. And nobody knows how she'll ever play out. Whether she'll sort of come back to the team or fall in love with Star-Lord, we don't know. But James Gunn has left the door open for Secret Wars, so they'll have to deal with that now. Now, overall, at the end of this film, Gamora asked about Star-Lord and her having a lot of fun together in the past. When he answered her, she smiled. And while most was thinking, was she going to step back, turn around and give him a kiss or a hug, she actually kept walking away. So no, they don't get back together. But for me, that meant that she'll think about it and she'll see what the future holds. So I think there's a lot of delivery in that. So the first two movies really covers them being valued as a team and a family. But in this one, they also have that individuality. And I think it's that individuality that broke up the team. Because they were so happy with each other. They were so content. This is a team, guys, that they love each other. And no matter what happens, when they first formed, they were outcasts which nobody wanted to be a part of. And they now become a team that value each other. And having now moved away to find their own journey, they all know that they have each other to depend on in the future. And I love that, guys. We also see a lot of people from the DC's Peacemaker TV series. James Gunn's wife was in there. The High Evolutionary was terrifying. He was acting out of this world. He was a member in that series as well. And we did see him step out on the stage at Comic-Con in character, which I thought was crazy. But he was fantastic in this movie. He was absolutely brilliant. Mantis also expanded her character's arc in the most brilliant way possible, showing how much she had learnt from her friends, tagging along Ego the Planet, and then she meets this team and develops love. So now her journey begins. And the same goes for Drax. His ending pays homage to the daughter that he lost. Now he'll have many daughters to grow with, and so he can become a father to 100 girls. Now, some of you might say that there's a little bit of controversy in the Mantis-Drax relationship, where she tells him, finally, that he's actually quite stupid. She realizes this hurts him and that he'll never take that back and recover from it. So she wipes it from his memory. Now, that's wrong on so many different levels. And maybe she couldn't live with what she did, and that's the reason why she tried to undo it. With the swimming pool and her ocean being a metaphor. And I think that there's a really grey area there, which is not really discussed in the film. It was just sort of painted over. But yeah, what she did there was wrong. Now, Rocket, he's proven to be the glue holding the Guardians together. Now that Star-Lord has left the team, they are Rocket's team now. But here's the catch. We find out not only is he a raccoon, duh, but he's from Earth. Now that's a big change from the comics. But when Nebula talks about how Thanos experimented on her, she agrees that Rocket Raccoon's story makes him the MCU's most tragic character in this heartbreaking tale. He has the most compelling backstory now. In the comics it's worse, obviously, because Rocket was abandoned by his robot creators. But this brings up a very important point to me. Now, Peter Quill left the team to go back to Earth and make peace with his origins. Bond again with his grandfather. Well, guess what? Rocket too is from Earth. So why hasn't he taken it upon himself to do the same? Why hasn't Rocket thought, let me go and see what my home country is like? So let's talk about the music choices now. It was never going to be in doubt. There was no question that James Gunn was going to deliver a film with amazing soundtracks. And they are Marvel's best-selling, yeah? There's no doubt about that. And with the story unfolding and the care and the commitment he had to the script, it's an extremely emotional and lyrically well-driven movie. And he's managed to fit this all in just 2.5 hours. I really do like the music scores here. Now, Guardians Volume 3 is the best Marvel film since Endgame. It's a full circle. They started out as loners, homeless, and alone. And they've taken it upon themselves to grow into this unbreakable team. And now they are even more stronger now with Adam Warlock joining the team. The one thing that's also refreshing is that DC Comics came out with the multiverse, and Marvel seems to be throwing that out with everything it's doing these days. And it's a little bit exhausting now. And some people have fallen behind on story arcs. Viewership is down in Marvel films. The Disney Plus shows are seeing all kind of low ratings and lack of qualities. And it's just become overloaded with quantity over quality. And James Gunn leaves that all behind. There's no multiverse here. None of that malarkey going on around now. So you can just come in and watch this film, switch off and enjoy an emotional fun ride. His CGI work in this film is also outstanding. The robotic modifications, aliens, backdrops, the aesthetics. He's taken the time to work every single scene's physics, weight and scale to make the film look perfect. There's actually a scene where we get to see Rocket as a kid. And the way he talks, the way he moves with his little boyish legs will really pull your heartstrings. Even the fight scenes were smartly choreographed with that same level of detail. Now, I remember seeing Ant-Man Quantumania and looking at some of the CGI thinking, that ain't right. But then you see this film and you think to yourself, perfection is the key when it comes to visual. Always take that extra time to make sure if it's good enough for you, it will be good enough for your audience. Now, for Marvel, it's a shame because the Russo brothers have moved on. James Gunn is gone. So now where does the quality come from? We've seen with the Blade movie, the script has been crashed twice. There's also been 2 directors, I think they're even on their 3rd one now. And off-screen controversies too with Jonathan Majors, with Ant-Man Quantumania leaving into Kang Dynasty. He was arrested for domestic abuse in March. He's playing multiple versions of Kang. It's going to be rough times ahead for Marvel. There's no 2 ways about it. But at least James Gunn has left us with a smile on our face. And the bar is set so high with this Guardians Volume 3 film that I'd be amazed if any Marvel movie over the next 2 or 3 years got anywhere near how good this film is. So there's one thing to cover here, guys. Marvel's first F-bomb. Yep, it was unscripted. Apparently, James Gunn and Chris Pratt have been working on trying to fit an unscripted swear word into the previous 2 films. But this one kind of worked out. And for me, I honestly think that Disney has built a great brand for family and Marvel entertainment without using the F word. And it just seems odd just listening to it. It seems really out of place. And normally you'd bring a 12-year-old to this film and you'd be kind of surprised. And some people said that they actually missed it. So look, I heard it loud and clear. It was in context as well. So it was been probably what you would hear in plain sight. If there was a real life conversation or argument or discussion or frustration, you'd probably hear the word come out in that context as well. But was there any need for it? I think that they probably could have left it out. I really didn't think that they needed it in a film like this. Maybe James Gunn just left the word in because he thought, you know what, there's no consequences. I'm gone anyway. What can Disney really do to me? They gave him 100% autonomy on the creative side and he took it and ran with it. And the only positive thing about the swear word was that, as I said, it didn't feel forced. It was very natural. So was there anything I didn't really like in the film? Well, James Gunn, he promised major deaths. And that kind of still rings in every fan's ear. And I'm sure everyone was waiting for the bomb to drop, you know, to see somebody, a member die or a few members die. We actually saw 3 or 4 members teased to die in this film. You know, Rocket, obviously at the beginning of the film, Drax came very close, and Star-Lord was probably the closest. But yet nobody died. So after teasing this for 2 years, fans may be a little disappointed coming out of this film that nobody died. And believe me, the film is still very dark. It's a very dark tale. But maybe because he didn't deliver on that promise, some fans might think, well, I feel a bit cheated. So now, the best MCU film since Endgame has come, and its creator has gone. So where does that leave Marvel? It's important to look back at the MCU's past to understand what comes next. And quite frankly, I have no idea where they go from here. James Gunn knows how to write a script. His scripts are great. All of them are pretty good. And better still, he knows how to execute it. How many times have we seen good scripts given to directors and directors just not being able to make a great film out of it? Also, his characterization development is easily the best in the MCU. This Guardians and the way how the individuals have turned out has been fantastic. I personally wouldn't trust these characters in the hands of any other director. Even when the Russo brothers made Infinity War and Endgame, James Gunn was also invited on the set of those films to give pointers in how the Guardian characters worked out. No other director from any other Marvel film was invited. That's how much input James Gunn had in the MCU. And as I said, the team is disbanded now, setting the stage for a brand new roster that mixes familiar faces with new heroes. This team should have a wealth of storytelling potential and could ensure the Guardians still have a role to play in the future of the MCU. But you won't see a Guardians 4, that's for sure. Kevin Feige already said, no, that's it. Now, Star-Lord returns to his grandfather on Earth. Mantis has gone to discover herself. Gamora returns to the Ravengers. Nebula and Drax will remain on Nowhere in leadership roles, so they will no longer play active roles in the team. This leaves the new leader, Rocket, with just Groot as the official members of the original team. And in the end credit scene, it's revealed that Rocket and Groot establish a team. Kraglin, finally having mastered Yondu's arrow, he joins the team, alongside the telepathic dog Cosmo from the comics. A redeemed Adam Warlock, he's also on the team, one of the High Evolutionary's test subjects. Phyla-Vell, guys, is also on the team, which seemed a bit rushed because we didn't see any development of her really getting into the team or her powers. But there's probably a reason they've done that. Phyla-Vell, in 2004's comic Captain Marvel issue 16, writer Peter David introduced her as the daughter of Mar-Vell, the original Captain Marvel, who came before Carol Danvers. And by the way, Monica Rambeau. Yes, folks, some of you out there still are forgetting that Monica Rambeau was the second Captain Marvel in the comics before Carol Danvers. But back to Phyla-Vell. The reason they probably left her alone was that she's actually got a massive role to play in the future in the MCU. In the comics, she's actually the new Quasar after taking the quantum bands from Annihilus. She also becomes the future Captain Marvel as well in the comics, and she basically has the same powers as Carol Danvers. So a lot is going to be expected from her, but then I thought the same of Sylvester Stallone's Starhawk, and look how that turned out. One of the most powerful, actually more powerful than Captain Marvel, and we ain't even seen him lift a finger in this whole sort of 3 films that we've seen. And look guys, I love this film. I'm going to give it a 9.0 out of 10. This new team's got a lot of potential growth. I just don't trust anyone outside of James Gunn to do that. And that's never going to happen now that he's moved to DC. I wouldn't be surprised if Chris Pratt also went to DC to make something like Booster Gold. But maybe that's too typecasted because Booster Gold is very much like Star-Lord, right? In fact, Marvel created Star-Lord from DC's Booster Gold. So I would like to see Chris Pratt maybe as something like Green Lantern's Hal Jordan, maybe Kyle Rayner Green Lantern. That would be exciting. Or why not make Chris Pratt a villain? Why not make him Ibad Thorn? It would be great. Imagine Chris Pratt playing the Reverse Flash. It give him a chance to flex his acting skills because we've always seen this sort of a smug, slide, sort of con man. In the Jurassic Park films, he plays a sort of standout hero, a leader. It would be nice to change that, seeing him playing this demented, hell-bent villain just wants to cause pain in Barry Allen's life. I would really like to see that, but I'm going to leave it up to James Gunn to figure that out. Guys, let me know what you thought of the film, and leave your comments in the comment section below, and I will speak to you guys in the next one. Peace out, man.